And that's pretty much it for our season. Um, Twice in 3 years, Sydney pretty much end our season. Let's talk about it. So, not the way we thought tonight would go. Well, that's kind of a lie, I guess. We weren't favourites going in. We knew Sydney were going to come out and play play better than they did last week in their 112-point loss to Port. They're first on the ladder for a reason, and we got our backs against the wall. It's a must win, and you think like you think okay, we still probably have like a little bit of a chance, and then you see us start playing, and in those first 3 quarters, you're going, hang on a second, we're playing good football. We're playing like 3/4 time we had a 21-point lead. Um, and we were matching it with Sydney. We were pressuring really well. And in my preview, I said that Sydney started to crumble with Port Adelaide when Port Adelaide were pressuring them. We were at one point we had 18 inside forward 50 tackles. I don't have the numbers to see what we ended with. To Sydney's like 4 at one point. We're doing really well at 3/4 time. We were dominating time in our forward half. We were dominating points in our forward half. Inside 50s. We were doing better than we really should have. Better than people were giving us credit for going into this game. Leading them in clearances, smashing them in clearances. 4th quarter starts. We kick a goal. We go up 27 points. I think, okay, that's 5 goals. And there's, 11 minutes left of the game or something. But then in the back of your mind, well, in my mind anyway, I go, hang on a second. This is exactly the position that we were in with Carlton last week. And Carlton came back and they could have won, but we pulled off a miracle. And we just weren't able to pull off a miracle today. And I read somewhere someone posted that this is the first time we've lost within a single digit margin since in like 420 days or something like that. This is something ridiculous. So we've lost that streak now of close wins by single point margins to a really good Sydney side. And to their credit, they come back and they were always going to come back. I thought we had them on the ropes. We just didn't land that knockout blow. And it was the same thing that happened to Carlton last week, where these teams just go, hang on a second, let's turn on the burners. And as soon as they're turning on the burners, we're going into not save the game mode. We're going into lock the game up mode, shut the game down mode. And as soon as that happens and we all go into that, we can't click back in because then we're chasing tail. And then, Warner and Heaney are getting off the tap, and they're absolutely smashing it. Sydney are coming right out at you. Oh, look at this. It's here in the last quarter. Sydney kicked 5 unanswered goals. They were plus 32 points. They were plus 11 clearances in the last quarter, plus 5 centre clearances, and 207 pressure ratings, which is pretty much identical. Those things were pretty much identical to Carlton. Carlton smashed us in the centre when we went into shut the game up mode. Their pressure rating was high. Their clearance work was great. And we just couldn't find answers. And people will say, oh, it's old legs, it's tired legs. And I don't think that's it at all. I think it was just a bad game plan. And how many times can you give up a 5 goal lead without questions being asked? Fremantle was a 5 goal lead, or thereabouts. Uh, Fremantle was the Doggies, maybe something close. It happened. It's happened about 4 or 5 times this season. But Fremantle, Carlton, and Sydney today. That's 3. It has happened a couple of other times this season as well. But when you're that much up and you score the first goal of the 4th quarter, you shouldn't be shutting the game down. You should be going on and going and winning and kicking more goals. You don't have to save the game. We need to keep winning. And with this team, with Sydney being such a good team, they were always going to come out. And in that last quarter as well, they had nothing to lose. And when someone's got nothing to lose, the shackles come off and they can unleash fury. And that's exactly what Sydney did. They're like, oh, we're losing anyway. Let's just play XYZ, see how it works, and then look what happens. And then, when you look at our third quarter, another fantastic third quarter. We kicked what? We kicked 5 goals in that third quarter, 5 goals in the second quarter. It was, sorry, 5 goals in the first quarter. That second quarter, we kicked 1 goal for, and we were missing chances that we usually would kick. And I said, it's going to come back and bite us. And it came back and bite us. We lose by 3 points. There were some dumb decisions in that last quarter that we were making when we were up in the forward line. There was that Mason Cox with 25 seconds left, unopposed in the ruck. He just needs to grab it and kick it at goal. He palms it down and Sydney take it out. It was just, it's a disappointing game. And, look, we could have won all 3 of our games and still missed finals. I get that. But it's disappointing when you're up by so much and you lose. That's the most disappointing thing. And when you're up and you're looking good, you're looking like you've got your good football back, you're looking like you've got your mojo back, and then you lose, you just like roll over and die. That's the most disappointing thing. That's the most disappointing thing. This game, however, I think just sums up our season. A little bit of a roller coaster. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. What's that meme? And we just never got running, and we'll talk about this when we do a season wrap up, and we'll do a squawk with Swoop live wrap up as well, fan cams. But we just never got the season going, and I think this game sort of sums it up. And I'll say this until the day that I die, but I don't think it's old legs in that fade out. I think it's just some sort of poor coaching. And talking of poor coaching, my God, Joe Richards coming on for the last 45 seconds. The latest a sub has ever come on. 1, abolish the sub, just in general. 2, we could have taken off Bytel, maybe Schultz, someone else, maybe another tall, I don't know. But Joe Richards is that guy that gives you excitement, is that guy that gets involved with the scores, is that guy that's that little spark, and everyone loves him, the crowd loves him, the Pies love him. What's he going to do in the last 45 seconds? You should have just kept him on the bench. What was he going to do? I think that's what I'm upset about the most. He comes back into the squad. Joe Richards is in. He's back. He's going to play 45 seconds. Are you fucking kidding? Are you kidding me? I think that's what I'm upset about the most. And yes, there's still mathematically a chance that the Pies can play finals, but why would you want to? Why would you want to after seeing this shit? Like, we're just gonna limp through. Let's just say we get into 8th, and it's just gonna be like in 2020. Was it 2020? 2020 or 2000? I think it was 2020 where we limp past West Coast in a final and then get done by Geelong for like 70 points or something. You don't want that. I'd rather not make finals, get a good ladder position where we're going to have a good run in. Because you've got to think our run in has been atrocious in these last couple of years. Carlton, Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne. Our last 7 games have been shit. We lose 4 in a row. We beat Richmond, of course. Just beat Carlton, give up a 5-goal lead. Lose to Sydney, give up a 5-goal lead. And then Brisbane and Melbourne. So, haven't had an easy run because we've been premiers. I get it. I don't really think there's any cause for alarm because it's just been one of those seasons where last season we had a lot of things go our way, and you need luck when you win premierships, right? This season it wasn't. At one point there was 17 players on our injury list, and I know this is pretty much the best squad that we've had, but it's that lack of I don't want to say lack of cohesion, but I just don't think there's not a lot of players playing better or just as good as they did in 2023. And it's, these other kids coming through, and credit to them. Ned Long, I thought, played really well. Philip Bytel did a couple of nice things. It was great to have Dan McStay back for these last couple of games, so just get better legs into him. There were a couple of things to like out of this game, but all in all, it's ironic that Sydney end our season again, twice under Craig McRae, and it's ironic that the Sydney, the Opera House, and the fat lady has probably sung on our season. Um, but we've still got 2 more games to go, and we'll rock up because we're Collingwood supporters, and that's what we do. We cheer the boys home, and who knows, stranger things have happened. But yeah, it was just a really disappointing game. Oh, and I should, because I know people are going to talk to me about it in the comments, mention the umpires. I don't like mentioning the umpires because we had a 27-point lead. The one thing I want to mention, though, is the insufficient intent rule. I think that might be the dumbest rule in the AFL. How are you supposed to know the intent of a player? Like, I was talking to Dad when we were watching the game. There was a Sydney player, I think it was in the last quarter, where he's running and he's with someone. I think it was Brandon Maynard. And he's running and the ball just kind of comes off his foot and it goes out. And they pay insufficient intent. Like, I don't think he was meaning to knock it out. I think it was just knocked out. Or Scott Pendlebury tries to kick it off the ground. He shanks it. It goes out. Insufficient intent. What do you fucking mean? What do you mean insufficient intent? Darcy Moore dives and he tries to hit it to Darcy Cameron, who's right there. Insufficient intent. What do you? It's a territory game. You got to get it. You got to get it forward. You got to get it forward. I think bring back deliberate, where it's a deliberate act, or just play fucking. What do they do in the AFLW? The lasso. So last touch out of bounds, just like in the soccer. Just do that because insufficient. That's what it felt like. I felt like there was hardly any throw-ins, and people are going to want to bring up the Dan McStay 50 meters. Look, was it there? Yeah, I think so. Probably. The umpire was calling, to play devil's advocate, the umpire was calling whoever it was backwards, and then Dan McStay played on. Umpire called play on. It's kind of reminiscent to the Kangaroos one with whoever it was it LDU that had the ball at that stage towards the end, and we were okay with that one there. But I know that we try and look for things. Oh, it should have been 50 and we could have won the game. Yeah, I agree. It should have been 50. We could have won the game, possibly. We shouldn't have given a 27-point lead up. That's the crux of it, right? That's the absolute the crux of the argument. But look, it is what it is. We lose to the ladder leaders. They're top of the ladder. And yeah, it is what it is. What can you do? But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below on the game. Until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll soup you later.